Good morning, Daniel Swartz here from Wisconsin. So, I was just thinking about the heroes I had as a little kid. You know, when I was growing up, there's a lot of people I looked up to. They were my heroes when I was little. I didn't see or I overlooked their faults because of my desire, strong desire to look up to and worship somebody. Um, as I got older, my heroes fell. Not necessarily because they were all did something terrible or wrong. That's not what I mean by saying my heroes fell. What I mean is I realized that they're human. And when I was really younger, something inside of me really felt let down. And I didn't really understand it back then. And as a grown man, I was thinking, I'm not going to do that again. I'm a grown man. There's no need to hero worship another grown man. But here and there, without realizing it, I've come across people, and you start holding them up pretty high in your mind and thinking certain things, and then again you're reminded they're only human. And I'm not trying to fault at all the people that I have hero worshipped, because they're just human. It is not their fault that I was misrepresenting them in my own mind. They were just being them and being human and rising above their humanness to do good things. And I, in my mind, held them up higher than, in my mind, I had them held up a lot higher than what they were, and that was my own fault. And why do we have the desire to hero worship? I think we all have that desire inside of us to worship something greater than ourselves. Part of the desire when we look up to another person is we want the easy road out and just be like, life is really hard. Navigating life and figuring out what is right and what is wrong for yourself and your family, it is hard. Especially you start navigating the do's and don'ts of everyday life and the moralities of what I should do, what's right and wrong as a Christian, what's right and wrong as a father, what's right and wrong in business. It's really hard. And most of us do not want to take full responsibility for that in our own lives. So we look for a figure to follow. Why do you think the Dave Ramseys of this world are so followed? Because it's not because he's always right or he is infallible. He is a confident man who has proven success, and he has good advice. So a lot of people are like, this is too hard. I am just going to do what Dave Ramsey tells me to do, and you will find a modicum of success. But here's the danger in that. What do you do when your heroes fall? Do you revile them? Do you say that they're not a hero anymore? Do you say that the good things that they've done don't mean anything anymore because they made mistakes? There's something that's been happening a lot over the last 20 years. People are going back in history and looking at the heroes of history, and they are picking them apart. They're saying this man was not really a hero because look at the problems he had. This man, he didn't do that good thing he did doesn't mean anything, or I'm going to question it because look at the bad things he did. That's a backwards way of thinking. If you think like that about people, you have serious issues you need to work out, because no man should be hero worshiping another man. That hero worship should be reserved for Jesus Christ. We all have to stand up, no matter our status in life. We have to stand up, be a man, take full responsibility from our own life. You can learn from people, but don't hero worship them to such a degree that you are just blindly following what they say. Because good men make mistakes too, and you're going to be so hurt and dejected when you realize your hero messes up too, or your hero has some serious faults. And I'm going to say that you shouldn't hold people up so high. Take the good, be aware that there's bad to come with it in pretty much every human being. The only one there where there was no bad that came with it was Jesus Christ. So, instead of looking back in the past and finding faults and finding dirt on the heroes of the past, when you see the things that these great men of the past have done, or even the not so distant past, people who are doing great things, and you find out that they have human problems just like you, or maybe they've done things worse than you've ever done, you should applaud the greatness that still came out of that person. Not dismiss the greatness because that person had problems. There's some people who've done some seriously terrible things in their everyday life who still did great things. I'm not going to name names. But how you should look at it is, this person who did this great and amazing thing is just as messed up as I am, and maybe even more. But somehow, somewhere, that person found the strength to do something amazing and great out of the muck and mire of humanity. They rose above their own humanity and their own sinful nature, and they did something great and amazing. That is powerful. Who here thinks that for your good deeds to be worth something, you yourself have to be perfect? That is a weird way to judge people when you think about it. You think about how you read about historical figures of the past, and you realize the struggles they went through and the hard life they lived, and they still did this amazing thing, and you say, how? How did you rise above all of that, all of those troubles, to do something amazing? Just for an example, this is going to be a made-up story. Let's say on the news you see a story where this guy, it's a hero story, man. There's a burning house in the background, and you've got this guy, he's stretched out on the ground. He's black with soot, and his clothes are burned, and he's got burn marks on his arms, and his hair's singed off, and they got him on an oxygen mask, and the news person is there just praising this guy, like, wow, this man, he ran into the burning house. He saw the house was burning, and he saw that there was people inside, and he broke down the door, and he got in there, and he made repeated trips, and he saved the children, he saved the cat, and he saved the parakeet, and he almost killed himself doing it. And they'd be praising him as a hero, and the mayor comes out and wants to finds him in the hospital later and wants to give him a key to the city, and all kinds of people are praising him, and he's getting all this attention, and he's a hero. But then somebody goes and looks into his past, and they find out that this theoretical man was a drug addict who walked away from his wife and his children and is living on the streets begging for money and getting high every single day. Does that make that heroical act greater or lesser in your mind? I know what people usually do. They say, oh man, this guy is disgusting. He's nasty. He's terrible. He's not really a hero. Look what he did in his past life. He's not a hero. That great thing he did just now just doesn't mean a thing, because look at his past. And maybe that man will go right back to living the way he did before, and you'll say, look, see, he's a piece of shit. He's not a hero. Is that true? That's not true. That heroic act that man did was amazing, and he is a true hero. Somehow, somewhere, something inside him encouraged him to rise up and do something superhuman out of all the filth in his life. So instead of reverse engineering it and saying, oh, this guy, heroic act means nothing, the good that this guy did means nothing because he also did bad. That's an ass backwards way of looking at it. People do that because of the way they feel about themselves. It makes them feel good when they find dirt on somebody and in their own mind lower them to their level. Nobody as angry as people who hero worship the most. They get so angry when their heroes fall. Just look at these people hero worshiping these ball players. Oh, it's the savior of our team. He's this good and he's that good and he can do this and he can do that. And when your savior underperforms and doesn't win you the championship, or you don't even get to the playoffs, the people who hero worship them the most are usually the most angry with that person when they fail. Why is that? It says a lot about your own personal character. Because if you are a grown man, confident in your own abilities, at peace with himself, you don't hero worship other men, and you don't get angry when heroes fail. You would have compassion when a hero falls, realizing he's human just like you, and give them grace, and give him encouragement and strength, and maybe he will rise up and do something heroic again. Or do you delight in the fact that your heroes fail, and you delight in the dirt and spread it? Ha! Did you hear what so-and-so did? I thought he was a good man. Look what he did in his past. Look what he did the other day. Look at his failings. Look. See how bad he is? See, he's worse than me. See? Does it make you feel better doing that? It gives you a little pleasure in the moment, but you'll walk away feeling filthy. I guarantee you, if you're holding someone up high in your mind, every hero, they have faults too. Despite their faults, they do heroic things and good things. And that should be applauded. Because every single human being that walks this earth has your struggles up in here. You might not think so. You look at their everyday life and you think, they don't have the problems I have. If they had to deal with I deal with, and they might be dealing with way worse problems than what you're dealing with, but somewhere they found the strength to rise above it and do the best they can despite the problems. Not trying because you have problems is probably the greatest sin. Like, no, it's too hard. I don't want to try to rise above it because I have problems. You make excuses for yourself. Like, I can't do those great things because of these problems. People who do good in life and do heroic things, they look at their problems, they accept them, they acknowledge them, and they say, I'm going to try anyhow. Even if I fail, I'm going to try. So when your heroes fall, give them grace. And if you truly have that desire to worship somebody, worship the one who was perfect, Jesus Christ. Because I guarantee you, Jesus Christ is the only one who, when you meet him, he will exceed expectations. He's the only one. You can hero worship him and he's still going to exceed your expectations. You guys all have a God blessed day. Have a happy 4th of July and stay safe out there.